In one of my previous videos, someone commented, "This guy looks a lot like Higuruma." And I don't really get it because my hair is white and I'm wearing a blindfold. But delusional disorder aside, because we're already on the topic of Higuruma, that's what we're talking about today. The surprisingly glazed quite a bit one. And let me tell you, recently, my Higuruma stock really went up and it paid off. Let's talk about, not the goat, but one of the goats. Let's begin. So who is Hiromi Higuruma? Well, he's easily the best character introduced into Culling games. Well done, Gege. You managed to write a complex character in the latter half of the story. Now, there were a lot of random bullshit characters introduced in the Culling games, and I'm sure that you can't remember them all. I can't remember them all. There was Reggie, who Megumi fought, Charles with Future Sight, and like the whole Sendai colony people that Yuta dismantled. But Higuruma stands at the top. Actually an interesting character. He makes Phoenix Wright look like a bum. And I don't really get the Japanese/anime obsession with lawyers, maybe just because they're cool and they make a lot of money. They look fly. But here's another famous lawyer. He will never reach the level of fame that Phoenix Wright did, but much stronger and much cooler in my opinion. He's the new Nanami, which makes him kind of goated in his own way. His death was very Nanami-esque. His relationship with Yuji was almost that of a mentor, not quite like Nanami. However, he does fail to reach Nanami status because he wasn't in the story for quite long enough, right? Moving forward, he rivals Gojo's talents, which is a holy shit moment. And I know a lot of people were saying like, dude, why is everyone rivaling Gojo's talents? You guys are missing the point of the new generation of sorcerers. New generation sorcerers just climbing up and becoming better than they were before. And they should surpass Sukuna eventually, except that's not going to happen because we know how Gege feels about Sukuna, child, dick sucky. He's actually the potential man. I'm sorry, Megumi, because this guy not only has potential, he lived up to his potential, right? We saw in the fight with Sukuna, spoilers, how strong he was. He learned domain amplification and reverse curse technique right when he needed to. Fucking goated character. And he's an extreme Chad when floating down to fight Sukuna. So he just saw Gojo and Sukuna go at it for 15 chapters. The strongest sorcerer of the current era died. Kashima went out for 1.5 chapters. The strongest sorcerer of the farming era died. And Higuruma said, fuck this dude, I'm going in. And then again, like all the other characters, somehow he gets 500 feet into the air and he drops down. Dope moment. What has Higuruma accomplished? He unlocked the curse technique that was actually his profession. And no, Nanami didn't do this. Nanami had like the binding vow with overtime, but how lucky do you have to be a lawyer in Jujutsu and a lawyer in real life? Because you're born with a curse technique. I'm not sure how this fucking works, but man is perhaps again luckier than Hikari. Not luckier than Kenjaku though. He actually kept up with Yuji in hand-to-hand. He did not beat him. Yuji still did trump him, but even just using like the gavel, he was giving Yuji a tough time. Very strong. He became grade 1 within 12 days of awakening. And that's probably faster than Yuta became legitimately special grade, Yuji became whatever he is now, and Megumi became grade 2 after joining Jujutsu Sorcery School. Fuck me. He learned domain amplification and reverse curse technique on the fly. Incredible. In that same vein, he impressed Sukuna. That was when his stocks absolutely went through the roof. It was time to sell then, but his stocks never really went down. He gave the Executioner's Sword to Yuji and he continued impressing even after his death. Higuruma, great character, even after the Culling games. He did get bullshit by Sukuna though. We know how it goes. Sukuna has the plot armor curse technique. Yeah, we used domain expansion against Sukuna, and instead of removing cleave and dismantle or whatever his curse technique really is, we removed the fucking weapon that Yorozu gave him. That being said, he was still extremely helpful and he had the Executioner's Sword, which he gave to Yuji, and obviously didn't work because he can't be the one to defeat Sukuna. But he tried. Now this slide is all really about how Higuruma could have ended it, and it's short, but I don't know how Gege thought that we would just glaze over this plan. Now I am a hyper-intellectual genius, like we've already established, and I noticed two things. One, Yuta is able to use Curse Speech on Sukuna and affect him. And what does Curse Speech do? As we know, it prevents people from moving. Importantly, Higuruma has Executioner's Blade, which prevents people from living. So had Higuruma just survived until Yuta came in, they could have just thrown fodder at Sukuna until then. Higuruma, Yuta combo, instantly dead Sukuna unless he bullshits the plot even more, which he would. So how strong is he really? He's not a top tier. He's not Sukuna, Gojo, Yuta level. Any character that you might consider top tier, he's not up there. Remember, he's still only grade 1. He was unable to defeat a cursed energy-less Yuji. Obviously, they stopped the fight because he wanted to help Yuji and he felt like, oh man, I should do this like I did in my profession. But he was not able to completely overwhelm him. And at this point, Yuji was much weaker than he is now. His domain expansion is extremely variant in power. It depends who he's using it on, which is always a problem. So he could be defeated by really strong people or really weak people and vice versa. So his strength really lies with his intelligence and adaptability. He was so smart and good at using cursed energy that he reversed engineered how cursed energy works from barrier techniques, learned the domain amplification, blah, 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 blah. So if he was written to win, usually he could probably beat characters that are not of that top tier. I would say ultimately he's probably somewhere below Prime Toto, but approaching that level, and obviously given more time to reach his maximum potential, easily would have surpassed him. In conclusion, what can we say about Higuruma? Well, he embodies Jujutsu Sorcerer's growth. And no, he's not as strong as Gojo. Remember, Gojo at the beginning of the series said the new generation, Yuji, Hikari, Maki perhaps, Megumi, Yuta, they could all surpass him. Higuruma did not. We just proved that Jujutsu Sorcerers can still become stronger in the new era. It's very much like Naruto and Shinobi becoming stronger. He's a fearless base lord. He jumps down and he fights Sukuna. A lot of characters don't do that. Kashimo does and he got embarrassed. Yuji does and he's the GOAT. And Yuta, I'll give him his flowers. He's showing up, even though he's a fucking Gary Stu. He had one of the most satisfying deaths in the series, and that's just because it mirrors Nanami's. The growth that Yuji had since Nanami to Higuruma, amazing. And he proves that a career change is possible even post 30. So for like the 4% of you who watch my videos who are 30 and above, you could do whatever you want. You could be a Jujutsu sorcerer and die a happy death. And he's one of the better written, more complex JJK characters, because at the end of the day, Jujutsu Kaisen is a very top-heavy cast. There are not that many characters that are super complex, but the ones that are really fun. And finally, he is him. Credit where credit is due. I was not super big on him in his introduction, but everything he's done since, fucking baller-ass character. And you're better than Phoenix, right? Let's go. Now, will he help in Sukuna's final defeat? We'll see. Hopefully Executioner Blade is still somehow around. I don't think it is, but we'll see what he'll do. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. As always, Higuruma PR team, how many of there are you? Leave in the comments down below why you like the character, why you dislike the character. How strong do you think he is? Him versus Toto? I think Toto claps him. As always, if there's anything you want to see, characters, movie, TV shows, blah, blah, you know the spiel. You know I'm a broken record. Am I not, Gojo? Gojo agrees. And to the person who thinks I look like Higuruma, I really hope you especially enjoyed this video, even though you're fucking blind. I'll see you guys next time.